Vladimir Putin's life is a story of resilience, rising from a challenging childhood in war-torn Russia to becoming one of the most prominent and polarizing figures in global politics. Born in 1952 in Leningrad, modern-day St. Petersburg, Putin grew up in the aftermath of the devastating siege of Leningrad during World War II, which claimed the life of his elder brother and nearly took his parents. Raised in a communal apartment filled with rats and tough living conditions, Putin learned to navigate adversity early on. Childhood and ambition to join the KGB from a young age, Putin dreamed of becoming a KGB agent. Inspired by Soviet spy films, he pursued this ambition with unwavering determination, studying law and eventually joining the KGB, where he served for 16 years. By the time the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, Putin was stationed in East Germany. He returned to a collapsing Soviet Union and began his rise in Russian politics. In 1991, Putin became deputy mayor of Leningrad, working under Anatoly Sobchak. As the Yeltsin administration faltered toward the end of the 1990s, Putin quietly rose through the ranks until, in 1999, he was appointed prime minister. Later that year, Boris Yeltsin's resignation made Putin acting president, marking the start of his long tenure as Russia's leader. Modern era. The Ukraine conflict, an international crisis. Of the most defining chapters of Putin's leadership has been the Ukraine conflict. After annexing Crimea in 2014, Putin escalated tensions with the West, culminating in the 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This war has isolated Russia diplomatically and economically while testing Putin's ability to maintain domestic support amidst unprecedented international sanctions. In 2024, Ukraine launched bold counteroffensives, exposing vulnerabilities in Russia's military. The Kursk region became a flashpoint, with Ukraine's forces penetrating Russian territory, forcing tens of thousands of civilians to flee. The destruction of a key Russian command center in Kursk delivered a symbolic blow to the Kremlin, highlighting the growing challenges faced by Putin's military. Ukraine's use of U.S.-supplied attacks missiles disrupted Russian logistics, while Putin unveiled the Oreshnik hypersonic missile, claiming it could bypass NATO defenses and strike deep into Ukrainian territory. Despite these efforts, Russia struggled to regain strategic momentum. The fall of a key ally in Syria. Another major setback for Putin in 2024 was the collapse of the Syrian regime under Bashar al-Assad, a longtime ally of Russia. Assad was granted asylum by Putin after his government fell to rebel forces. The failure to prevent Assad's downfall weakened Russia's influence in the Middle East, exposing the limits of Putin's foreign policy. Security crises in Moscow. Domestically, security lapses underscored growing instability. In March, a deadly attack at a concert hall in Moscow killed over 140 people, marking one of the deadliest incidents on Russian soil in decades. In December, Igor Kirillov, a high-ranking military official, was killed in a bomb attack outside his home, raising questions about the effectiveness of Russia's security apparatus. Efforts to break isolation threatened the year Putin sought to counteract Russia's growing isolation. He strengthened ties with North Korea and hosted the BRICS summit, showcasing alliances with nations outside the Western sphere. However, these moves failed to offset the mounting pressure from Western sanctions and military support for Ukraine. Conclusion 4. Putin 2024 was a year of immense challenges, both domestically and internationally. The Kursk incursion, Ukraine's missile strikes, and the collapse of Assad's regime in Syria were significant blows to his leadership and Russia's global standing. While he sought to project strength through new weapon systems and diplomatic engagements, the cracks in Russia's military and political dominance became increasingly visible. As the conflict in Ukraine drags on, Putin faces the daunting task of redefining his legacy amidst mounting adversity.